stay here because you guys are too far. So I'm a little more comfortable because here I get to go and ask questions. I saw a few of you writing down notes. That's very good because there's going to be a quiz later after my 250 slide deck. No, just kidding. No, I am in the unenviable position of being in between your long, very long day and raffle. So I'll try to go and stretch this some more. Just kidding. You like my braces? Oh, thank you. All right. So the cloud is here today. Why? Because as I was going in here, there was a reunion. No? I overheard two people talking. Sabi niya, "Oh, Nilo, I saw, tagal natin din kita, 15 years ago. No? We graduated from high school. Oh nga, Ramon eh. How are you na ba? Well, you know, ganito, 2 kids, wife. Ganun ba? Oh, let's keep in touch. Meron ka bang email address?" So, sabi ni Nilo, wala eh. Ha? Wala? Corny mo naman, 15 years na eh. And then, so sabi nung, sabi ni Ramon, how about, Facebook? Facebook, meron ka ba? FB? Sabi, oh, meron. O sige, ano yung FB address mo? Nilo@yahoo.com. Gets nyo, ha? Kasi that has nothing to do with security, but I just get a kick of saying that story. Anyway, so, what are we going to go and cover? I think I just challenged the range of Bluetooth. Okay. Okay, so you have to go and press the right button, not the left. Okay. All right, so this is what we're going to go and cover. Popular uses, real-world examples, why go cloud, what are the risks, security architectures. Here, I would tell you, this is where the most take-home that you will go and get, where the security architectures are, security solutions, and maybe a recommended approach just to go and summarize it at the end. All right? So here, I think you saw some of these in Ike's slide. So process as a service, these are the types of cloud services that are available today. Application as a service, platforms as a service, and is infrastructure as a service. There are a lot of cloud drivers. A few years back when the internet was booming, now it has exploded, somebody said that the internet is a great equalizer, right? But now, this is me quoting Andrew Malihan, CISSP. I think the cloud is now the great enabler. Why? Guesses? Any guesses? I took a look at how much does it cost for me to go and buy a basic infrastructure as a service. 10 gigabytes of throughput a month costs $2.70 in-out. One VM machine, virtual machine, $300. That's a server class. $300. That's Amazon's EC2. I think I saw it in ZDNet just this morning. So that's like, what, 15,000, meron na akong server? Unheard of. And it's on the net. I get connectivity as well. Can you imagine that? So it is a very great enabler. And so this is what those drivers for the cloud are. Cost reduction, elasticity, and scalability, what I still couldn't figure out who Batman and Robin was. Our earlier speaker said, speed to market, how was it? From several days to now just 30 minutes. I think we were seeing those figures earlier. High performance computing. You saw probably in our video earlier that a lot of the high performance computing is actually used by banks today to detect fraud because they go and have to go and churn a lot of numbers, right? So those are the drivers. However, there are, of course, risks today, okay? Now, it's a matter of knowing what those risks are. So users' privacy, information security, there could be political, economic problems, or depends on where you are sourcing the cloud services. Continuity of service, because now it's not just you anymore who's working and who's taking care of your infrastructure. It's now somebody who's larger and more or less it's not somebody you can go and touch, right? And then data migration challenges when changing cloud provider. These are considerations that you have to go and make when you're going for a cloud service. And it depends on the kind of cloud service. Is it software as a service, platform as a service, or infrastructure as a service? If it's software as a service, that's where the data migration challenges and those things that you need to go and plan for. Why? If in case you decide to go and move from one service provider to another, hey, wait a minute, will it be compatible? Will my data be compatible? So considerations, right? So things to see, threats and vulnerabilities. These are common ones that are existing today. Things that you need to go and manage anyway, right? They exist in your current web-based applications, even in your intranet-based, web-based applications as well. So unauthorized access, session hijacking, that's usually what happens over an internet connection. Lack of encryption, if your encryption is not good. SQL injection, and all of these things are common threats and vulnerabilities that you have to go and consider and make sure you go and protect. Okay, I will not go and say, hey, now I have to go and do two-factor authentication every time that I go and establish a connectivity. No, that's not what I'm going to go and do today. I'm going to go and give you more of a high-level framework of what to do, right? So how much security do you need to implement? Depends. Okay, it depends. So if it's software as a service, these are more or less what you would see as your layers. So if you are running a software as a service, you're buying software as a service, from the application layer all the way down to the hardware and the facilities, the software, the SAS provider takes care of security, not you. Okay? Next. If it's platform as a service. So if you see here, nawala na yung data content, data component type part, right? You're the one who's going to go and generate that on top of the platform. Okay? Now, infrastructure. There's that layer that goes away, the integration and middleware. Why? This is where the part that you go and buy the CPU from Amazon, EC2, or Rackspace, or whoever those guys are. And then you install your operating system on it. On top of the operating system, you go and install your applications already, etc., etc. Okay? So as you can see, on the left side, you can see there that you can negotiate for security through the contract level. What does that mean? I say, hey, Mr. SAS provider, go and make sure that you back up my data. Go and make sure that there is encryption. Go and make sure that my data is scrubbed from your infrastructure when I go and wrap up a test database. Something like that. Everything is through the contract. Oops, all the way. Good thing I know where the left button is. On the right side, as you can see, now, if it's infrastructure as a service, I have to go and think of how am I going to go and secure my operating system all the way up to application security. Okay? So this is something that you can see for the whole, well, today these are the three most common types of services. Right? Frameworks. So this is the meat of the presentation. So realize that they are proprietary technologies on the cloud. Using a framework evens the field. A framework and an architecture also helps you become complete and thorough, right? Why? Why? Why do we need to become complete and thorough? This is going to be on infrastructure. Eventually, that's not going to be in your direct control. So you need to be complete. You don't want to miss anything. Why? Because if you miss something, you have a mandate towards your customers. If you go and have security that is a security breach, and because you were not thorough, there goes your business. Right? So having a framework helps you become diligent. Of course, it's the people like us, the system administrators. Sysads. Walang sysads. Software developers. May nakita ko kanina. Network admin. Vendors. Meron. We have vendors. We have vendors. Okay. Workstation support. Workstation support. Telco support. Ayun, telco. All right. Voice. All right. But anyway, so these are the things that our IT folks have to go and be diligent about. So popular frameworks today, there are several. There are free versions out there. They are what you call open source. But you're pretty much on your own on how to go and run them. Cloud Security Alliance. This is a model that's out there since 2009. And of course, it sits in an alliance, so several organizations go and submit to this. OSA, Open Security Architecture. It's a security framework pattern. Okay, you can go and use that to go and make your platform secure. There's an open group security for the cloud with the service-oriented architecture project, SOA. Of course, there are vendor frameworks, and one of those would be Accenture. And that's what I will go and talk about, our framework. Okay? Next slide shows what the silo responsibilities are in the different types of cloud providers or cloud services. I'll give you 5 seconds to go and take a look at this. It's pretty wordy. What you will see, so from top to bottom, software as a service, down to infrastructure as a service. Now there is the enterprise or us company responsibilities, those. And then there's the cloud service provider responsibility. But please make sure, as you go into a public cloud, that the responsibilities are also shared. Okay? I've heard it once through a friend of a friend, through FB, friend of friends. So a friend of a friend is saying that, hey, the cloud is secure, but it's up to you. Hey, wait a minute. We need to go and show that there are joint responsibilities here and depends on the area. So it depends on the framework that you're going to go and see and use. So one item, if you would go and it's very glaring, you will see in software as a service, under cloud provider responsibility, you see SDLC security, software development lifecycle security, right? The enterprise, it's not his responsibility. From building the application and rolling it out and having releases for it, etc., etc. Okay? But it's a joint responsibility for the workstation. You make sure you, as a user of the cloud, is that you have your antivirus, personal firewalls, tools on your PCs, etc. At the same time, the applications that go and you download onto your workstation are also of a secure nature, right? We go and pop a browser, you have to go and make sure that it is secure. It has encryption on it, etc., etc. And it's working on a particular operating system. It doesn't bomb out on all those operating systems that are out there, like Windows 98. Wala na yatang Windows 98. Anyway, so as you can see, there are several areas. This is nowhere near exhaustive, okay? So otherwise, we will not be able to read the letters anymore. So, but it is to demonstrate that there are joint responsibilities and there are very clear lines somewhere that you can go and define, depends on what you're trying to go and accomplish, right? Okay. Here is the Accenture Cloud Security Framework. So there are 4 main areas, but as you can see, right in the middle is where the security technologies are. The reason why I was asking if there are the system administrators, network administrators, is just to say that may trabaho pa rin tayo. Okay? So, with the cloud, there's still, actually, may trabaho pa rin tayo. We still have jobs. Number 2, it gets interesting as well because now you are at scale. Sometimes you are limited with what you see in your company and depends on what the market is, etc. And that's how much you will see as far as your technology exposure will be, right? Now these cloud providers, right? Now you can go and have scale, actually. And you're exposed to more technology. Now, as you can see, the other blocks that are surrounding the technology, you see up there, the blue bar says security, strategy, and governance. So this is the all-encompassing umbrella for the whole framework. On the left side is the security management silo, or block. And on the right side, you have security operations. Okay. So security strategy and governance is where you go and say what your policies are, you define your security organization, your awareness, your program management, risk management. There are privacy and cross-border laws that you have to go and consider. Now, in risk management, these are the things, well, this is something that you have to go and make sure that when you go and start to go into a cloud and you're doing a security assessment, risk management means really, what are your assets, defining what those are, defining what the threats are, okay? And then you find out what your risks are to those assets. And then you decide. Here's where risk management. Do I accept the risk? Do I mitigate it? Do I control it? All that. So that's something very important. It's often missed. It requires a lot of rigor and due diligence to go and do that. A few things I'd like to go and highlight. The security organization needs to establish the lines of responsibilities. Hindi pwedeng turuan. Okay? So depends on the type of cloud service that you will buy. You as a security organization, or your security organization, it could be a formal one or an informal one under the CIO type or the IT type of organization. But it's very important that you define who is responsible for what. So I showed you that slide earlier. There's going to be joint responsibilities. There will be joint responsibilities, but there will be those that are the responsibility of the provider and the responsibility of you as a user. Okay? So very important. Why? You build those in your contracts. Okay? So a good thing about a lot of these big service cloud providers, they're big names. Okay? These are contracts that you can actually count on. I don't know, because if you could just now and imagine, wait a minute, it's a contract. Hey, hold on. I'm going to go and buy a service from a non-Philippine entity, right? I'm going to, then is this contract good? Ask your lawyers. Most probably it is. Why? Because these guys need to go and deliver on what they go and promise. Right? Okay, so implement strategies for migration, transition to cloud computing. Why? Why is that very important? Because a lot of things, when you go and transition from in-house to outsource infrastructure, things get missed. Okay? And when those things get missed, that's the end of the start of the end. Right? So make sure that there is a good plan. Right. So, next. Security management. So these are your disaster recovery, compliance management, what are you going to go and audit, and make sure people don't expose the passwords of their databases. Like that. So, service provider management, security administration, metrics reporting, performance management. A few highlights. Compliance can be a challenge if you don't have a framework as well. So you choose your framework. It could be your company policies it was already built, or it could be a little more, let's say, more comprehensive, like an ISO 27001, right? Which is an ISMS, Information Security Management System. So make sure you go and decide what kind of compliance management system will I have. How is the audit going to be? And to what standard do I go and audit against? If some of us are from outsourcers, you might have company requirements that you have to go and follow. If you are from a health industry, you saw probably in the earlier slide, there's a HIPAA compliance that you have to do. What used to be what you call SAS 70, if you are a US-based outsourcing company or insourcing company, what they call captive markets as well, you have to go and comply with SAS 70. Today it's called the SSAE 16. They've changed that standard. So make sure you understand what you're going to go and comply against. Develop a tool and dashboard for effectively capturing metrics. So find out, since this is going to be, a lot of it is going to be outsourced, you need something to be easy to measure. But before it becomes easy, you have to go and define what you have to go and measure. So things like, for access management, for example, I have people who go on board and they go and resign as well in my own company, let's say. How fast are their accesses deactivated? Is it within 24 hours of their last day? And how many actually were deactivated within 24 hours of their last day? So those are some of the things that you go and say as, okay, I decide that it's going to be one of my metrics. Okay. All right, so it's access management. All right, workstation security. How many malwares did I detect on my workstation? But if you think about it, hey, wait a minute, that's already in my own company. That could be what, right? How many failed attempts, if there's an intrusion detection system at security, are targeted at my company? Why? Because you want to make sure that you are always plugged and all of that. How many times are my patches updated? So things like that, okay? So because these are measuring sticks that you will go and measure yourself against if you are responsible for your operating system or your application system area. But also, these are the same metrics that you will go and use against measuring performance of your providers, right? Okay. So, security technology, all right? These are the guys that actually, this is the core of it all. So where your security technologies are, application and data security, encryption and PKI, infrastructure security, these are your routers, your mobile equipment, your virtualization security, okay? And of course, identity and access management, stuff that I mentioned earlier as well. Make sure, here's a couple of things. So I said earlier, software development lifecycle. There's also data lifecycle management. What is that? So I have customers who go and log in their data, provide you their addresses, credit card numbers, etc. Favorite color, depends. Baka garments, diba? Furniture manufacturing, pwede rin. So, and then it's a whole blob of data somewhere in there. Now I go and move to another set of databases. Same service provider. What happens to that data that was left over? Okay, they copied it over. Great. But what happened to the ones that are still private information? Okay? Probably in a year or two, there's going to be a Data Privacy Act to be enacted within the Philippines. It's already at the Senate. And there will be more demand to go and more pressure, actually, on the vendors, on the merchants, on the hospitals, on the banks, to protect private data of the citizens. Okay? So these things now you're on the hook for. Well, wait a minute, I have to go and make sure that they are scrubbed. So I generated the data, I moved, hey, I have to make sure that that is scrubbed safely. And there are tools today on these same virtual environments that are used for secure data scrubbing. Okay? You've probably seen those that comply with DOD something, and you write zeros and ones randomly 3 times, etc. There's an equivalent in this realm as well. So find out what those are and if those are available for you too. Okay? Perform shrinking of secured perimeter by leveraging. Now, what is this? Earlier you heard Ike that mainframe is not dead. So that was the joke. But however, so all of your information is somewhere else. Okay? So you don't really download anything anymore. And if you do download something through your browser, today, those are erased upon exiting your session. Those are SSL VPN concepts, no? So the more you go and decrease and shrink the perimeter that you have to go and protect, the better. So go for those technologies, because now you're just protecting the data center. And when you go and extract something through a session on the workstation that displays on the workstation, technologies today through a virtual environment, or Citrix, or SSL VPN, technologies today actually go and securely erase those information that is left behind, or nothing is left behind, actually. Okay? So again, security operations. These are your configuration management, patch management, backup, logging more, stuff that we do today. So these are the things that you go and do when you are already running. So you look for, okay, who forgot? You look for your you still run your MBSAs if you are do vulnerability scanning, because it's really just another server, right? Except that it's on the cloud, right? It's virtual. So you still go and do that. So this is like, so it's still a server just on a virtual environment. And this is what you go and do to ensure that operations are secure. So vulnerability scanning, checking what the patches are if they're still there, or if somebody forgot, checking your assets and if they're backed up properly, checking if the backup is actually recoverable, so things like that. Okay, so the frameworks in summary. What did I say at the very top? Define my strategy and governance. Right? Then, how do I implement and run my strategy? That's the one on the left side. It's security management. Define what technologies I will use. Okay? Depends on your application, depends on your business. Then define how I will maintain my operations securely. So these are your security operations on the right side. So is the cloud secure? Definitely yes. Okay, it is. However, as I mentioned earlier, you have a responsibility, depends on the type of service. The vendor has a responsibility, and you have co-responsibilities with them, depends on the area. Okay? Some examples of the technologies that are out there. So maybe for those who are software developers, and I'm sure the sys administrators are out there, you might think I'm going to ask you a question. But so for perimeter layer, so your firewalls and firewall rules and VPN are there. But on the cloud, those types of technologies of separation between different tenants. What are those tenants? So talking about infrastructure as a service. So many people are actually buying these virtual CPU, virtual databases, virtual storage, right? You have to go and check at the virtual machine and network level. You have to be convinced that their abstraction layer, that's what they call them, is that you are really separate from the other tenants, okay? Some technologies today, even the administrators cannot see your data. Because by default, and because of the CPU power, the computing power that's available today, it's encrypted. And it doesn't even take so much CPU power to decrypt the traffic. Actually, to decrypt the data for you to be able to go and read. Okay, so there are technologies there today, and there are providers there today that do that. Even the administrators don't know how to go and get into your data, into your database. Okay? So, recommended approach, define your business objectives, identify your information assets, assess the risks against your information assets. As I mentioned earlier, define your risk management plan. What are the risks to my database of customer orders? Who might want to go and steal them, right? And how do I go and protect them? Who are my competitors? How do I protect them? Who will have access to it? Okay? Select your cloud provider. If you noticed, it's way down there after a few steps, right? Define your strategy first before you do and select. Because you will need to make sure that the cloud provider will support your business objectives, not the other way around, right? Then operate it, govern, audits and compliance. You measure with your operations, and that's it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.